Hi, everyone. I'm Flora Pastorero.
And I'm Carrie Perry, and this is Chick to Chick.
Today we're talking about something that I actually would prefer that we not have to discuss,
100%.
but it is a reality out there. Statistically, 1 in 4 women will be assaulted at some point in their lifetime. 1 in 4. That's unbelievable. It's hard to believe. The other thing that's alarming, you know, Hollywood paints this picture that the woman's jogging down the street and some dude jumps out from behind the bushes. Right. That's not really how it happens.
No.
Usually the person who is assaulting the woman, it's usually somebody they know.
Right, and so they're caught completely off guard and maybe even feel bad how they're supposed to relate to them, especially if they're doing something that is just so out of character.
And because of that statistic, 1 in 4, that raises another thing that, again, I would prefer we not have this conversation, but we have to. It's so important for young girls, women, to learn self-defense. What do you do when that happens to you?
Right. So we had the privilege of watching what these women do, this program, and my daughter was there, the one who's going into her sophomore year of college. I mean, you saw her. She was upset about it because it really struck her and it hit her, thinking, this is not right. This is not the way it should be. We should not have to know how to handle ourselves this way. She had tears in her eyes.
I saw her. And that's exactly it. Why do we even have to, as women, worry about that? Yeah. But we have to worry about that. And so we have to have this conversation, which leads to our 2 guests today. We are so happy to have with us Fran Regan and Franca D'Agostino. These 2 women, they make up the 2 F's in F2 Women's Self-Defense. Hi, ladies.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Give us some background how you started this self-defense class. Go back to the beginning for us.
All righty. Well, Franca and I have known each other for about 25 years, and I always like to say we met when I was in kindergarten and she was a college freshman. But no, so we were both, we used to travel in the fitness realm. We both were aerobic kickboxing instructors at Gold's Gym for a long time and kind of got to know each other. And then about 12 years ago, we kind of reconnected over our love for physical activity. And we both love to do trail races and adventure races and crazy things like that. And so we would run at Messiah every weekend. And after a while, we got tired of complaining about our husbands, about our kids and the pets, you know, doing crazy things in the house. And so invariably we start to talk about things we'd read in the newspaper or saw on the news. And a lot of time I would be like, hey, did you read about, you know, that assault that occurred on such and such a campus? And gosh, it's just, I'm so sick of hearing about this. Wish we could do something about it. And a lot of that kind of talk. But we were both employed at the time and our kids were younger. And so it was never really the right time to do much. But then in 2015, Franca and I had a great summer. I unexpectedly retired early, and Franca was in between jobs. And so we used that opportunity to travel to Albany, New York, and we took a 3-day, 30-hour course to become certified women's self-defense instructors under a program called RAD, Rape Aggression Defense. We took a lot of what we loved about that program and added some things that we thought were more up-to-date and more relevant and kind of made it our own. And then we had a pilot group that went off in November of 2015 with my daughters and some of their young friends. And we've been going ever since.
First of all, thank you, because I think that program is something that absolutely needs, you know, to be out there for young women. So you're talking about what age? Like what's too young to start teaching young girls self-defense?
Well, it's really never too young to give them the idea of being aware of their surroundings and communicating with their parents when they don't feel comfortable about something. They're never too young for that. But for our class, we focus more on about the age 13 and up, 13 to 100. But 13 is really the age where we kind of cut it off because we talk about some things in the class that are very sensitive and things like date rape. And we don't want girls to come into the class who don't even know what the word rape means. So that's not really the first time for them to hear it. So we're just kind of we think they're mature enough at about 13 that they'll understand the concepts and kind of what we're talking about and the situations that we describe.
So Carrie and I were able to come to one of your classes, and we were there when you were into the physical part of it. We understand it is a 4-hour class. So talk us through the class. What do these girls, what can these women expect? How does it all play out?
Well, yes, our 4-hour program, we split it up. We have the first 2 hours approximately is like what we call our informational section. So that's the part where we really do a lot of the lead up. We don't want anybody to get over to hitting on the bags or practicing any of the strikes until we feel that they have learned all there is to know about reducing your risk. Because Franca and I are firm believers that most of self-defense is not karate chop kind of martial arts stuff, but more about being prepared. So in the first 2 hours, we talk a lot about situational awareness, being aware of your surroundings. We talk about body language, how just standing up tall and even if you have to fake it is so powerful in terms of making yourself look less like a victim. We talk about using your voice a lot. We do this great exercise where Franca gets in their face and screams and makes them scream back and so that they can understand how forceful just using your words can be.
Right.
About using your words, body language. So we want to prep them and make sure that they understand that you can reduce some of your risks and you can even act more confident, even if you don't really feel it inside yet. Because honestly, some of these young girls are way too young to know how awesome they are. But we tell them, hey, go ahead, fake it. Pretend that you think you're awesome and pretend that you feel as strong and brave as we want you to. And eventually you'll start to believe it. And only then, after we go from there, we go to the bags and start practicing some simple strikes that anybody could do. They're not multi-step because Franca and I firmly believe that you're going to have 1 or 2 opportunities, 1 or 2 strikes, and then you're not going to do hand-to-hand combat. You're going to hit somebody, hopefully incapacitate them, and then you're going to scram.
And I'm just going to go back to our informational piece. We also talked to the attendees about kind of giving them the okay to understand that if you don't feel comfortable about something, be vocal about it. We as women have been raised to be kind and sweet and quiet and help everyone. Don't let anybody feel uncomfortable. And we kind of, right.
Have you met Flora? I don't know who raised her, but no, I mean, to that point, you're right. You're right, Franca.
What your parents teach you, but as soon as somebody crosses the line and doesn't make you feel comfortable, you've got to throw that all out the window and worry about yourself.
You must take some of these girls in that first hour to the 4th hour, and I bet you see such a huge difference. There's got to be some young women that walk away going, thank you, because I had no idea I could have a voice like this. How else would they have known,
Yeah. That's, I think, for both Fran and I, one of the most rewarding things is watching an individual walking into the room like this and leaving shoulders back, looking up, and very confident. It is the most rewarding thing. But if we can at least plant a few seeds in their brain, and then just seeing the transformation during class is just the best thing. And it happens.
Body language speaks volumes. It really does. If you put off this air like, hey, don't mess with me, I think that makes a huge difference. And while we were there watching your class, we did notice a couple of the girls who were, as you described, hunched over and kind of meek and timid. And as you were screaming at them and getting in their face, they sort of opened up and really gave you a few punches there and the kicks.
Yeah, you were cracking me up, Flora, because you were like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to tell her, get in there, hit her, knock her out. Like, it was, like we were getting into it. I mean, but I bet, do the other girls kind of cheer each other on? There's got to be a heck of a camaraderie in that type of setting to lift each other up when you're learning all of this.
Oh, absolutely. And we facilitate that. Like Franca and I will pick out somebody because, invariably there's a couple girls in the class that you can tell their moms drug them there. They weren't so sure they wanted to come, and maybe they're like real timid, and we'll find something, we do 6 or 7 different strikes. We'll find that one strike that they are really, for whatever reason, able to haul off on. And we'll say, hey, I'll yell over Franca, check out whoever, Cindy here, and watch her do this kick. And it's amazing. I'll say, you don't expect that from somebody that's really kind of tiny like that, but we give them permission to, you know, to show their strength that way and to really wallop these bags. And when we can say to them, look how strong you are. Did you have any idea how strong that you were? Did you have any idea you could do this? And just to see them get that big smile on their face. And if, you know, if we can just have them walk out, and Franca does this cool exercise where she asks them, well, how do you feel at the beginning? And she'll ask them for one word, and invariably the young girls will say tired or
scared,
scared
or nervous. Or...
Yeah. And at the end, she asks them again, and their word is usually something like, I feel empowered, I feel stronger, I feel confident. And you're right. We go after class, we sit there for half an hour and go, wow, you know, if we could just affect this handful of girls and make them less likely to be one of those 4 women. I mean, it's a great feeling. It's really a great feeling.
And it can carry through on other things too. Like, you know, not just in self-defense, but you're going to a job interview. Of course you're scared. Fake it. Be confident. Do all those things. I mean, so they could use these skills in different avenues as well.
Right.
You guys said something. You said you teach them a couple of moves to make the attacker incapacitated. What is the goal here? I mean, they're not trying to kill this other person. What are you trying to teach them a couple of moves to do what?
The main objective of our class is to escape. So as Fran said earlier, you're only going to get, it happens so fast. You're only going to get 1 or 2 hits, maybe 2. So the goal is not to go back and forth, a boxing match, or, you know, hit him and go, okay, you ready? I'm sorry. Let's go.
Yeah.
No. Your objective is to escape. You hit him hard, incapacitate, and run.
Ladies, if somebody is interested in taking your class, how can they get more information?
Well, we have a website, see here, F2 Women's Self-Defense. We're also on Facebook, and that has our contact information, because the great thing, we do these public sessions a couple times a year where we just have an open invite and anybody can come to the West Shore Senior Center. We just finished one on Saturday. But we also have done a lot of private groups. We've had a CrossFit gym hire us. We've had church groups. We've had Girl Scout groups. We've had law firms. We were at Centric Bank last week. So anybody can contact us. If you have a group of 6 or more, we can work with you. We can take our program anywhere. All we need is a wall to show the PowerPoint, a little bit of space to do the strikes. And I just want to point out, too, that although it's a very serious topic and we do treat it extremely seriously, Franca and I have a lot of fun with it, too. We she's a complete crazy person, and we try to make it fun. We try to engage them, and
funny.
She's always cracking up in class. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fran and Franca. A lot of great information.
Yeah, I saw the crazy Italian out there. I could relate to her. I
was a little afraid because she was, and I'm strong, but she was yelling at me, and I didn't yell at her. No, I mean, yeah, you don't want to mess with those 2 women. But I mean, I love the fact that it's out there. I love that we're getting the word out. I wish I had something like this when I was going into college. At an age where I really thought I could handle things, but let's face it, we can't see around corners. We're just not old enough to understand. And I think then too, even just later in life, get a refresher course, because you have no idea what's happening around the bend. Like you're a mom and you've got groceries, or you're right, you're somewhere where you know somebody, as we were talking about before. Like we need to take the full class and not just go beat up on Franca and Fran for 30 seconds.
It was awesome. I thought it was really awesome. Again, it bothers me that we have to teach our young girls this. It bothers me, but it is a reality. It is a fact of life, and it's nice to know that there is something out there. Yeah. So, again, it's all good stuff.
It is good stuff.
So, speaking of good stuff, if you'd like to get in touch with us, if you have some comments, anything you want to share with us, you can always reach out to us. We have a brand new website. We are at chick2chick.com. It's chick2chick.com. Really easy.
It's great. Thanks so much for joining us. And you know what? We're going to be chirping about another topic next time.